Hi, welcome to another dose with Empire, where we share to elevate and inspire. My name is Mimi, and today, I am so excited because we talk about four ways, four ways of making money. This is our first time going live with Empire, so I hope you can bear with us. I'm excited. Making money and money talks, making money move is one of my favorite topic because because I feel like this is a topic so many people simply run away from in this channel. If you listen to our podcast, if you listen to what Empire stands for, we love talking to other entrepreneurs. We love talking to other people building their own version of empires. And this season, we are gonna do just that. Talk more about what is the impact of money, the financial aspect when you're making all these money moves. And because we will be talking about money more, and we will incorporate more money question in our interviews with our leaders, we want to kind of break down the four ways of making money. So when we are talking about money, so it kind of makes sense to understand where we are coming from. Okay, without further ado, let's start talking about why we here. We here honestly to talk about four ways of making money. So, who are you to talk about money? Well, my name is Mimi Pierre. I have over a decade of experience as a project manager. As a project manager, I have managed $1 million project. I have managed small scale project. I enjoy being part of project because many times the money aspect, if you're losing money in a project, you probably shouldn't be a project manager. With that being said, I have tailored the idea of managing money, the financial aspect, not only when I work, but also I carry that on a personal level where whatever I learn from work, I carry that on a personal level to see what can I do to make more money, to manage my own financial better. So with that being said, when I'm talking about when we're talking about entrepreneurship, building your own version and empire, I think money is one of the biggest hurdles for people. I mean, when you look at YouTube, you look at Google, you look at there are so many side hustle jobs out there is growing almost every day. So we have a video coming up where we really sharing the amount of side hustle jobs that are out there when you're thinking about building your own empire. But you guys, if we talk about side hustle, having one business that you're managing, or even where you're doing the 9 to 5, but also having a side business where you really honestly doing it all from your version of it, we have to talk about money. And those four ways of making money we will be discussing today hopefully makes sense. Now, I was talking to my nieces just a few weeks ago and they said they wanted to be a YouTuber. They saw me on online. They're like, Mimi, I want to do this too. And I'm so first of all, I told them, I broke it down. It's a lot of work. Are you ready for this? But also, I wanted to take the time to explain to them the money aspect as well. So, this video is not only for my nieces who are only 7 years old, by the way, you guys. They are 7 years old and they already know what they want to become. But the idea is, I want to keep it as simple as possible for my nieces watching this, for my brothers and sisters watching this, for my colleague watching this. Either you're an entrepreneur, your mom, your student, you can really benefit from learning what are the four ways of making money and why so many people are hustling and bustling and having second jobs more than ever these days. Okay, the first way of earning money. There was a poll on our YouTube channel, and people voted. First of all, if you voted, you took the time not only to watch your channel, to vote as well. Thank you so much for your time. With that being said, for everyone who voted, the consensus was obvious. More people, the question was, well, let me tell you what the question was first. The question was, which way of money fits you best? And it was obvious. Most people enjoy making money by selling their time for money. Selling data money is the first way of earning money we will be talking about today. So when you basically selling your time for money, or you can also say exchanging your time for money, is when you either have a hourly rate or you basically getting paid based on your time earned. And obviously, the higher, the more advanced your skills and expertise are, the more you're gonna get paid. Okay. If you are in demand and your skills are just rare, you can ask for whatever amount you want per hour to get paid. Now, a typical um exchange selling your time for money is having a typical 9 to 5. When you work in a 9 to 5 where you are telling your employer, I will be there either 8 hours per day, 10 hours per day, or whatever the case may be, and I'm expecting to get this amount of salary within that time frame, and the employer is saying, okay, but I'm expecting you to work for this amount of time as you for you to get paid that amount. So that's the simplest way of really earning, selling your time for money. Now, for each one we're gonna be talking about today, each way of making money we'll be talking about today, we're gonna discuss some of the pros and the cons. So for number one, selling your time for money, what is the pro? The pro is if you show up, you're gonna get paid. That's a good thing. And you can even plan your year around this, especially if you have a mortgage. If you have an employer who can say, hey, if you work 40 hours per week, you can have this amount of money, then you can plan, okay, then I can have a mortgage where I can pay my mortgage on time, knowing that I have a contract with my employer that will pay me so I can pay my mortgage, so I can eat, so I can do whatever I need to do. Now, what is the con? The con is if you don't work, you don't get paid. I mean, that is obvious. Now, hold it. There are exceptions to every rule, meaning, obviously, if you have PTO, you're not working, you can still get paid. If you're out on FMLA, you could still get paid. So there are exceptions not only for number one, but there will be exception for every one of the ways of making money we will be discussing today. But it's very cutthroat, right? Very easy peasy. You work and then you get paid for hours you work. So that's number one. Number two, exchanging when you're lending money. When you're lending money and you get it back with interest, that's a second way of making money. An example of that is basically buying CDs. A CD is a certificate of deposit you can get from a bank. When you buy a CD, let's just say you buy a CD for $500. Now, typically, when you buy a CD, there's a specific time frame the bank can retain that money for. Let's just say you buy a CD for 5 years with a 3% interest rate. Now, that's just an average, I would say. Right now, the interest rate could be a little bit higher, a little bit lower. It also depends on what type of CD you're getting. But on average, let's say with 3% interest rate. I mean, what is the pro? This is easy peasy. I give you $500, you use it, and then I get it back with interest. Easy peasy, right? Now the pro is obviously it is as easy as it sound, where you literally giving your money to the bank or even to someone. Now we're talking about CDs, obviously you're giving that to a bank, but you can lend money to almost anyone. It's not just the bank. Let's just say you know Paul is trying to run a business, you have money, deep money in your pocket. You can sign a contract with Paul and says, hey Paul, I can give you that $10,000 that you need, but I'm gonna need that $10,000 back in 2 years, in 5 years, and I'm gonna need it back with interest. Okay. So that's one way of really lending money and getting it back with interest. And the pro is you gonna make money and you're doing nothing. Now, what's the con? You know it's coming. The con is you could potentially never see that money back if you're lending to Paul. Paul business could run to the ground. It didn't work. He lost money. He's like, I'm sorry, Mimi, that $10,000 you lend me, I simply cannot give it to you. Or I need 10 more years before I can give that money back to you. And you're like, what, Paul? I needed that money in 5 years. And now you tell me 10 years? It's a problem. Okay. So that's one example, right? That's the con. You may not see that money. But if you let's just say you're getting a CD is obviously it's a different way of lending money, where when you're giving the bank the money, a CD is pretty much guarantee you're gonna get it back. So obviously, the more money the entity has, you have a greater rate of return, less risk, and obviously greater reward of getting your money back. Meaning, and obviously it depends on the bank. Nothing is like risk proof, but the risk is much lower. If, for example, you buy a CD where you literally lending the bank your money and you saying, "Hey bank, I'm gonna put $500 in a CD for $500, and in 5 years I'm gonna expect for that $500 to compound interest, like every day, every month, whatever the contract or selected city is. And in 5 years, most likely you will get that money back. However, um, let's just say something happened. That's the con. Something happens, you're like, I need that $500. Something happened, you have a family emergency, you need that money, not in 5 years, but in 2 years. The bank is going to say, hold it, we have a contract that says you're gonna give me 5 years with that money, and now you're asking for it early, then I'm gonna penalize you for asking for that money. So not only you could potentially lose part of that $500, you could lose all the compound interest there that you already accumulated. So read the contract, right? Read the contract, know what you're signing, and understand that if you are doing a CD, can you risk that not having access to that money for that specific amount of time? Okay, so that was the second way of making money. What is the third way of making money? Making dividend from profit. If you are managing a business, if you are an influencer, if you're a YouTuber where you are getting profit from your business, then that can be the third way of making money, right? A perfect example would be a YouTuber. As a YouTuber, as you're watching this, either you make video yourself or you watch other videos, just know that it takes time to have lights shining on my face so I can so this room is not dark, so you can see me, so you can understand me. I have a microphone, so you can hear me as clearly as possible. I had to make sure I'm properly groomed so I can come here and really cater and deliver decent knowledge to you and hopefully entertain you as well. But the idea is when you have all these expenses and now I'm delivering this to you. And how do you get money, Mimi? Well, you get money by some of the ads that show up in my videos, and I get paid. And the more you guys continue to view this video, the more I get paid for it, right? So that's one way of making another way of making money, where you earning dividend, making profit based on a specific service you're actually doing. Well, Mimi, aren't you exchanging your time really to make money? Yes and no. So I can make this video for 15 minutes or I can make it for 40 minutes. I can make it for an hour. And that specific video can play for over 2 years making money or even 5 years making money. Versus with one, when you're exchanging your time for money, once you work for those 4 hours, it's really done. It's like one and done. You work for 40 hours, you get paid for a specific 40 hours, and that's it. And for you to continuously make money, you have to continue to work. Versus this video can continuously play, and the more it plays, the more it makes more money. So it's not really the same system. But that's a great way of thinking of it so you can understand the different ways of making money. Okay, so we have last one, number four, capital gain from capital gains. So that's a fourth way of making money. What are capital gains? Capital gain is when you buy something and you sell it back, and whatever profit you make is the capital gain. Perfect example. I don't know why I have Hermes bag in the brand lately, but yes. Let's just say you buy a Hermes bag. Let's just say you buy that Hermes bag for $10,000. It's a bargain at that price. Listen, so let's just say you buy a Hermes bag for $10,000. Few years later, you're like, uh, I don't know if I want that Hermes bag anymore, either because you have other styles, your style changed, or you probably didn't use it. So if you don't need that bag anymore, you're like, oh, maybe I need to sell it at this point. This is still $10,000. This is still a lot of money in 2023. So now you want to sell it. Maybe you need to authenticate the bag again. Maybe you need to find a buyer. You need to maybe advertise it. Maybe you need to travel. And when you do find a buyer, maybe you need to ship it. Let's just assume in the midst of all of this, it's costing you about $1,000 to really sell this bag. So you bought it for $10,000. It's costing you about $1,000 of accumulated expenses to find someone and to actually ship it and to sell this bag. And lo and behold, you find a seller who's willing to buy it for $20,000. So that means you're making about $9,000 of profit, which is the capital gain. So $10,000, that was your cost for the bag, the original cost for the bag. It costs you about an additional $1,000 to find research for shipping, going back and forth, authenticate the purse, right? And then once you did sell it, you sold it for $20,000. So you made a profit for about $9,000. So yeah, so what is the pro? The pro is this is a great way of making money. So obviously the Hermes bag is the simplest way of doing it, but you can do it in a much, much, much bigger scale. Let's just say you are buying razors for a swimsuit, especially for a specific season. And you buy it maybe on DH Gate. There are a lot of websites out there where you can really buy items in bulk at a cheaper price, and then you resell them at a higher value and make profit, or even sell them on Amazon. For example, let's just say you buy bathing suits, especially for summer. A lot of people are looking for bathing suit to buy to entertain themselves, to be hot summer body ready. So let's just say you are selling swimsuit, so you can buy swimsuit at a company or online at a cheaper price, and then you resell it on Amazon, either with your logo or with whatever the case may be, and you sell it at an increasing price and you make profit. You make profit in that way, and that will be a capital gain. The pro is you can make a lot of money. Retail stores, Amazon, Apple, they are all companies using capital gains to make money every single day. Now, what is the con? The con is, what if you don't have an audience? What if you buy all this product, no one wants to buy it? You would just scream. Okay, so that's the con where you could invest all that money, or maybe you don't find the perfect product. Obviously, in either doing one, two, or three, do your research. Now, we talked about the four ways of making money. When you are building your portfolio, I know. And I'm talking about this because I talk to some people, they're like me, what is a portfolio? When you have a portfolio, it's when you have a combination of when you have a combination of any one of those four ways of making money we just talked about. Let's just say you do have a 9 to 5, but you also are making money, you are getting dividends you're making profit from dividends. That's just because you have a rental property, or maybe you have your own stores where you're gaining from capital. So having a combination of one, two, three, or even all four ways of making money, that's the way you build your own portfolio. Okay, now, what I heard the other day was my friend was saying, Mimi, everybody is hustling these days. Everybody has their own company these days. Everybody need a side hustle more than ever these days. Why? Why? So I'm gonna take my time to explain the next portion of this video. And I think it is important. And I'm making this video for my friend really asking this. Obviously, we talked, but I'm making this video with anyone with that mindset. Why are so many people hustling these days? The best way to explain it is by starting by explaining what inflation is. Inflation is when the cost of goods sold increases, and that is increasing almost every single year. Okay. On average, every single year, inflation is like kicking us. What is inflation? Inflation is, let's just say, a bottle of milk was $1 last year. This year is costing $2. The next year it's probably going to cost $3. I mean, I'm exaggerating here with the numbers, right? Maybe it's like 25 cents more, 50 cents more. But the problem is, you're not just buying 1 gallon of milk. You're not just buying one toilet paper. You're just buying so many things. Like, you need toilet paper, you need soap, you need gallon of milk, you need to go eat, you need new shoes, you need to buy gas, you need transportation. If all these things are impacted by inflation and are increasing, therefore it's gonna add up by the end of the year. So I realized the impact of inflation probably at 17 years old. And that's when I knew having a side business was essential. Like, it's going to be part of my life. What do I mean by that? Let's just say you have a regular 9 to 5. Or maybe you're working online where you are more flexible with your hours, but we basically earning by exchanging your time for money. So what I'm trying to explain here is really share you guys the background on why just having a 9 to 5 is not enough these days. To kind of answer my friend's question, I think more than ever we are having more than two jobs, or we are building our portfolio because of this particular reason. If you're making $1,000 per year, and let's just say you're averaging $2,000 for mortgage, or maybe you paying rent, you averaging other $400 for your car expenses, to include car insurance, car payment, and all that jazz. You averaging another $400 for to eat. You averaging, let's just say, on average, it's about $50,000 of expenses, right, per year. Yet you're making 100K. If your personal expense is about $50,000 and you're making 100K per year, that means you have about 50,000 left over. I mean, you're sitting good. If you are saving, putting $50,000 in your pocket every year in saving, that's not bad. But we didn't talk about taxes yet. When we're talking about taxes, a large portion of this gonna go to the government. And taxes can be from 8% to even 21%. There are state taxes and there are federal taxes. So depending on where you live, you could be dealing with both. Like, if you, for example, if you live in Florida or even Delaware, you don't have to worry about taxes, state taxes. Thank you, Lord, right? But if you live in a state like California, you can be dealing with 7% and 7% of your taxes. Okay. So my point is, if you're making 100K per year, your expenses alone are $50,000, and we're not even counting taxes yet. And then the next year, inflation kicks in. Your yearly salary most likely remains the same. However, your yearly expenses gonna increase by probably 5 to 6%. And if we're talking about increasing 5 to 6% of $50,000, so your yearly expenses is $53,000. However, your 100K salary remaining the same. Okay, fine. $3,000 more. You still saving about $47,000. Let's just say the following year, inflation continues to kick in. So instead of saving $47,000, now you're saving only $44,000. But keep in mind, inflation is coming every single year, you guys. So what's going to happen by year 10 when inflation is increasing every single year, and you're still making 100K? You can say, hold it, Mimi. 100K, if I'm doing my job well, my organization is probably going to increase my salary. That is true. But keep in mind, organization are not looking out for you specifically. They're looking out for their stakeholders. That's one of the reasons I always say to my friends, if you love the company you're working for, make sure you're buying stock from them as well. Like invest in the company. Not only with buying stock, but invest in your time. Make sure you showing up. Make sure you understand the company. Make sure they are doing everything you stand for. Make sure you understand what is the CEO doing. Make sure you understand what is this company doing? What can I do to not only show up every day to make sure I get a promotion, but understand the ins and out of that company because you're investing a bulk of your time there. Now, if you don't like them, you're more than welcome to go to the next company instead. But if you are investing money there, make sure you're actually investing your time, effort, money there. Okay. I'm not saying to work more than your regular 9 to 5, but I'm saying when you are doing that 9 to 5. And that's one thing I remember my parents said all the time, and they still say it now. Whatever you do it, whatever you're doing, do it well. Take time to do it. So if you're choosing to do a 9 to 5, make sure you're doing that 9 to 5 well. Okay. Make sure you understand the ins and outs, the background, and get a promotion. And so you can earn that additional 3% promotion salary increase. So when inflation is kicking in, so you're not really left behind. Okay, let's just say, okay, you're getting that 3% interest rate. You're getting bonuses, 3% interest. That means you're doing well at your job. But at the bottom line is inflation is still 6%. They're not totally covering the entire part of inflation. Like I mentioned earlier, companies are really catering to stakeholders. The stakeholders are the people who are investing money into the company to keep it going. So these people are expecting profit. So they're the main character. I know that sounds so mean, but when someone took the time to explain inflation to me and I did my research and I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I need to have a side hustle. I need to make sure I have my own business. I have to make sure who whichever company I work for or I'm working with, I'm investing in them in more ways than one. Okay. So the reason I'm explaining inflation and the impact of just working a 9 to 5 is not working these days for a lot of people is because of the scenarios I just shared. I think more than ever, people are understanding or even looking at their yearly salary trickling down and their expenses on a yearly basis, even on a monthly basis, it's going up. So they're finding solutions. So because they are finding solution, you have more than ever, people have stores, people have online accounts, people are YouTubers, people are influencers on Instagram, and they're sharing their knowledge. They're sharing their genius, I call it, with the world. And when you do that, let's be clear, it's not for everyone and it's not always going to be easy. So the purpose of this channel is not to encourage everybody to have their own side hustle or to build their own version of their empire, but to share what people are doing out there, to share this is not impossible task to have a side hustle to build your own version of empire. Next, we will be talking about over 50 side hustle business out there. 50. And that's just only part one, you guys. There's going to be more and more. We're going to be talking more about business. We're going to talk more about money moves. We're going to be talking about what I've done. What are some of the money moves that I've made, some of my losses, some of the things I cried over, some of my mistakes, some of the mistakes I'm still paying for. That's the purpose of this channel, to really show you guys what we do to really be entrepreneurs, from multi-millionaires to people making it just as a side hustle or maybe just a mother. It's just, I think it takes time. Either you want to just become a mother, you're a student having a side hustle, or you just an entrepreneur that's really doing it multitasking. The purpose of Empire is to show, have these interviews where we are asking these important questions, where you can learn from these leaders who have taken the time, effort, energy to build their empires. And my goal is you're gonna learn from these people and say, I like what they're doing. Let me try to mimic it. I don't like what they're doing. Let me try something better. And I think as a nation, we need to have those step by step to learn how to be better than to than yesterday. And I say that all the time. How can we be better than yesterday? If we cannot understand our history, how can we stop repeating mistakes from the past? Let me say it again for the people in the back. If you don't understand history, you cannot stop yourself from repeating mistakes from the past. And that's what empire is all about. We want to learn not only the basic of ways of making money, we want to understand what our other entrepreneurs are doing out there these days. What are the things you can learn from? What are the things you can start incorporating in your life today so you can be better than yesterday? Okay, you guys, this is it. I kept my promise. I'm talking about 4 ways to make money. Honestly, you guys, I can sit here and talk to you guys for hours. This was our first live. I'm so excited for all of you who showed up. All of you are here now. All of you who will watch this later. Yes, this was the four ways of making money. We also talked about portfolio. We talked about the impact of inflation. And we also talked about why more people are having side hustles and more people are building their version of empire more than ever these days. Okay, you guys, this is it. We have reached the end of the line. I hope you learned something with me today. I hope you were at least a little bit entertained. Listen, money talk doesn't have to be boring. I hope I didn't make it too boring for you today, but I like to keep it entertaining, and I hope my nieces watching were able to understand this as well. Keep it simple. Keep it understanding and simple. That's my motto. That's what we strive for. Hopefully it felt like we were having like this conversation sitting at a kitchen table and talking about money talk, and I think that's what I really wish for 2023. Let's talk more about money. Let's simplify money talks. Let's keep it easy. Let's learn from each other. Let's share the do's and don'ts along the way so it can be better than yesterday. Okay, you guys, that's it for me for today. I will see you in the next one. Bye.